Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the Muslim path: belief, character, and community.
So let's just jump right in with the big question, right? What does Islam actually ask from a Muslim? It's a question a lot of people have, and for good reason.
We live in a world that's just full of confusion, labels, and so much noise. So our goal with this explainer is to take a calm, honest look at what it really means to live as a Muslim, drawing straight from the sources. Okay, so everything on this path, it all starts from one single essential idea: the core foundation.
At its very heart, the foundation of Islam is this incredibly simple but really profound belief in one God. And the source material is super clear on this. This is the same creator worshipped by figures like Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. And we're not talking about some distant, angry figure here. The focus is always on a God who is fundamentally merciful, just, and, compassionate.
This core belief, it's laid out with just absolute clarity in the Quran. Say, He is God, the One. It's this single, really powerful idea that gives everything else that follows its meaning and its direct.
Okay, so you have this core belief, but how does that actually play out in daily life? Well, that brings us to the next part of the path: the practices that shape us.
So here you've got these 5 core acts of worship. You've probably heard them called the pillars. They follow this really logical path. It all kicks off with the Shahada, which is the public testimony of faith. That's followed by Salah, the 5 daily prayers. Then you have Zakat, or charity. Then Psalm, which is the month of fasting. And finally, for those who are able, there's the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca.
But what's the why behind all this? The sources really stress that these are not supposed to be just empty rituals. Think of them more like practical tools designed to shape your heart and your mind toward gratitude, discipline, and a constant awareness of God.
And that focus on your internal state, it leads us right into the next piece of the puzzle: the compass of character. I mean, listen to this profound statement from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. "I was sent to perfect good character." That tells you everything, right? The whole prophetic mission at its core is about becoming a better, more virtuous human being.
So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, the sources give us some really clear, practical stuff. It means you speak the truth, even when it's tough. You avoid things like gossip, pride, and cruelty. But notice this one: showing kindness, especially to people you don't agree with. And it's about being someone people can count on. You keep your promises, you're trustworthy.
And this really flips a common idea on its head. In Islamic teachings, mercy isn't seen as weakness. No way. It's consistently presented as a sign of true strength. It's an active, powerful choice to be compassionate. So this focus on your own character naturally expands outward, right? I mean, how does becoming a better person affect the world around you? That's what brings us to our next section: building a better world.
This is where faith becomes action. And the teachings are so direct, you can't just go to sleep with a full stomach if your neighbor is hungry. Period. Silence when you see injustice? That's a problem. And charity, it's not just about money. Planting a tree, taking care of nature, even just offering a smile, all of that is considered an act of charity.
Ultimately, it all boils down to this incredibly powerful metric from the Prophet: the best of you is the one who is best to others. It's like the real test of your faith is found in how you treat the people and the world around you.
But what about the mind? What's the role of your intellect in all of this? That's where we're going next, with faith, freedom, and reason.
You've got this foundational verse from the Quran that just sets the whole tone. There is no compulsion in religion. It's saying, for faith to be real, it has to be sincere. It can't be forced on anyone. And right alongside that freedom comes a huge responsibility. This saying, seeking knowledge as a duty upon every Muslim, is just as important. So it's not enough to just believe. You're actually pushed, you're obligated to learn, to think, and to grow intellectually. And what this all leads to is a really powerful conclusion. Faith and reason aren't enemies. Not at all. They're presented as partners in the search for truth. The Quran itself is constantly telling people, hey, think, reflect, use your brain.
All right, so we've looked at belief, practice, character, reason. Where is all of this going? What's the end goal? The final destination of this path is the result: a path to peace.
And what's really fascinating here is how these ancient teachings line up with modern science. Psychology is now confirming that having a structured spiritual path can lead to greater happiness, more resilience, a deeper sense of fulfillment, and it helps people cope better with a crisis and behave more ethically.
This brings us to the core message of this entire path. It's about a huge shift in perspective. It's about moving from a focus on just obedience and fear to instead cultivating awareness and a relationship built on love and mercy. And that shift, it's everything.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. How does seeing religion as a path of awareness, and not just a checklist of rules, change the way we see the world, and maybe how we see ourselves? It's a pretty powerful question to think about. Thanks so much for joining us on The Explainer.